Well, hello there. Today is day 6 of Inktober and the prompt is bouquet. This one I think might be my favourite so far. Now, you know what I do? I think this is definitely my strongest to date, and I do think there is actual improvement. I think, to be fair, if I was going to repeat this one again, it would even be better, but I think it's definitely better than what I've done so far. So, for bouquet, the main thing that popped in my head was obviously flowers. I don't really know where else you could go that isn't flowers, to be honest, other than doing like a bouquet of flowers, but it actually not being flowers. I couldn't really think too much further, and I was fine with flowers because flowers are something that I don't do very often. So immediately I had the idea pop in my head of doing, like those really minimalist pieces that you see in home decorating shops, and they have like these posters which are like really simple line art pieces. That was kind of what I was going for. I was going for a sort of line art of a face, but it kind of covers the eyes, maybe the bottom of the nose is in it slightly, and then there's just like a load of flowers just covering the face. Hopefully when you see this fine liner piece here during the planning process, hopefully you can kind of what I'm getting at, I've definitely seen it in shops, this kind of style, and this is what I was going for. The hand, if we could just ignore the hand, you're going to see a lot of problems with hands going forward. I'm not good at hands, I can't sketch them, so trying to do them in ink it's not a good idea. It wasn't going to be better, was it? So it's not. But I do think this hand is slightly better than some of the horrific hands that we've seen so far. So this one, I really didn't do many drafts of the planning process. I had the idea in my head and I just kind of went straight with it. I saw a couple of pieces on Pinterest. This is definitely a style. I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's like a minimalist abstract kind of idea. But I've definitely not seen it in ink before. I've not seen it in watercolour really, but I've only really seen digital. So I thought this would be a really interesting one to do. I wanted the piece to be a lot lighter than it ended up. You'll see that I kind of lost some of the highlights, which is something that I'm definitely working on as I'm progressing with this ink journey, but it's so easy to lose the highlights. That's something that I've really found and struggled with. For this, I basically used a dip pen and did all of the line work, which was something that I wanted to do. I thought that'd be better than having a load of pencil lines show through. I know a lot of people are keen on it. I personally don't really like pencil lines shining through when I'm doing like painting, especially with watercolour, and that's just a personal preference really. I like it when other people do it, I just don't really like it on my own pieces. So with the flowers, I have no experience really with flowers, so I just kind of did what I thought flowers looked like. As I said, I had a vague Pinterest reference that I kind of followed, and I just kind of winged a lot of the plants. So don't look at it and think, oh, that might be that plant or that might be this plant. Like, it's really not. I just winged it and put a load of shapes together, and I really could have done a bit more with it. I could have thought more about the composition and everything, but I didn't. I did it quite quickly. I wanted it all to be quite quick really, so if I like the idea, I don't mind doing it in watercolour again. I would like to do it as an original, this kind of idea. But yeah, so I wet a lot of the flowers and then I dropped ink on it, and I thought this would be really pretty, and it does kind of look pretty, but the ink also sort of takes over. But the thing that I've noticed with ink is it doesn't really tend to be like really kind of opaque in the centre and then have layers where it spreads out. It kind of, a bit like you can see, just drops like a massive blob, and sometimes it spreads but it still looks like a big blob, and that's something which I didn't really expect. I didn't think it would do that from this sort of small amount of times that I've actually used the ink. It didn't really seem to do that, so that was surprising. I really like this technique where I put some ink quite thick in the middle and then I just used water and tried to sort of spread it out. I'm not sure if it looked great, but I like the idea behind it, and I do think that flower did go better than the last one, but again, I decided to add ink when it was wet and it just took over a little bit. That's something I'm going to have to work on. With the face, I do think that I didn't really let it dry in between, and unfortunately it it does look a bit messy because a lot of the ink just kind of bled into each other, the flowers and the face. It was really hard to keep any kind of distinction. I was really struggling with the skin tone. This was supposed to be a slightly darker skin tone, and with the ink I just really struggled to leave the highlights there but try and get it the right colour. I just could not get it the right tone that I wanted. But again, with the flowers, like, a lot of it didn't really go like I had planned. Ink is just very difficult to control, and I do need the experience with it, and I'm definitely getting the experience by doing it this way. So obviously at the end I don't really like white background, so I just splattered a load of ink and it went everywhere. But I do think that the splatters really helped, and I didn't mind getting some on the actual woman and just on the hands and that kind of thing. I don't mind them going on the flowers. I thought the splashes looked quite nice actually, being on the flowers and everything. I made the outlines a little bit more bold at this stage, which I do think helped, but in general I think this might be my best piece so far. I do like it, and I do think it definitely shows a lot of progress from the first day in just being able to control the ink and kind of where it goes. I think it's just a little bit more controlled, so I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I hope you've enjoyed watching this one. Please like, comment and subscribe if you did, and stay tuned for tomorrow's prompt. Bye!